I am live. I believe I'm live. Let me check. And most definitely, let me plug in my phone into my power source. I forgot to do that. By the way, I'm your host, Mike Pugh of the Virtual Intel channel. And I don't think I have my... Hold on one second. Nope. For some reason, I don't have my power supply over here. That is not a good thing. Give me a second. I'll get my power supply. I think it's here. What happened to my power supply? Oh, my power supply is behind me. I'll be right back. Sorry about not being ready with this, but it's live, so it is what it is. All right, I'm back. So you're probably wondering, what am I doing on this screen here? Well, I'm saying thanks to the person who gave me the ability to use this video. And this video is going to be one of the parts of my feature of this actual live stream. The other part, the main part, is Plask. Plask is a really amazing tool. So let me bring you to the tool, and you'll get to see some of the stuff that I've been working on currently. Which, sorry about the microphone not being that loud, but I just brought it back to my face. So pretty much Plask is an AI Mocap type of 3D software. So it's available for free, 100% free. You don't have to pay anything, and you can get an unlimited supply of motion capture files off of videos or off of a webcam. So that's up to you what you choose to do in terms of creating your video footage, whether you choose to go online and find video footage or whatever way and method that you choose, that's on you. Now, what I highly recommend for you to do is make sure you get permission if you're using video footage that's not yours. And it's very important, very crucial to get the permission. So that's why I brought you to this screen over here. This is Pexels, Pexels.com. This is a site that you can go to, which is like a file depository type site, or you can call it also a content farm for images, videos, things like that nature. And let me see if I can bring you to the main page. But besides that, this is where you can get free stock photos, free images, and videos. It's pretty dope. If you're a content creator, definitely check out Pexels. This is where I got some of my video footage that I want to play with today, and what I've been playing with, testing many different motion capture capabilities of the cloud-based Plask tool for 3D AI Mocap. Now, what is a 3D AI Mocap? Basically, it goes in and it extracts from videos. So let me bring you over here. Now, this is the thank you page type of thing. You can donate to people who are putting up content on Pexels. That's up to you. You can also post your communications of it onto Instagram, I believe, something to that effect. I don't know exactly how that works, but I haven't done none of this yet. But what I'm doing is giving them credit. So you can choose to give them credit. So you copy the link and information that's made available, and then you take it and you submit it with your live stream if it's your live stream. So I'll put it in my live stream communications, things like that. I'm not sure if this is actually not my live stream 100%. Let's see if I could reset it and see what it shows. Let's see. Nope, that isn't it. So let me go to my main channel. I just want to show y'all folks how to do it. So here goes the live stream here. Let me shut off my audio so that it won't go through if I chose to go to it. But yeah, we will go in and try to see if I can edit the video. So say you was creating a video for Plask. I highly recommend for you to do it this way. You go into your description area and then make sure whatever video that you utilized, like I said, get the credit for it from the location that you got the information from. You get that information. That is going to help you to provide credit to the originator. Once you do that, and you also get the link to it, bring it back over to your video area and just put that information in there. So video by Rodney Productions from Pexels. And I'll put a little space, and then I'll hit copy, and that should have copied the link, and paste. Nope, that didn't copy the link, so that's fine, but I'll get the link to it. So it was this actual video here, and I'll just take a copy of their profile pretty much. Let's go with that, and that should be good enough. A link to their profile. I don't know about the actual page itself. I might just put a copy to that page. Yeah, right up here. So I'll put a copy to the page and to the actual profile. We'll do that. Double credit. Usually I don't double credit stuff, but it's worth it because this person put out some really good content. So what I used is a young lady who's doing a karate move. It's only 16 seconds. Now, when you're doing like Plask AI video type stuff, you're trying to do mocap, 3D mocap, and you're trying to extract the video using Plask, and trying to create 3D model animations and things like that. Basically, what you want to do is you want to find shorter length videos. You don't want to go with like anything too long because it might not work. Also, you want to make sure that the video, the way the video was captured, the camera was stable. That's one big thing. So make sure the camera's stable. Let's hit the play button so you can see. Now the camera's kind of moving a little bit, so the character may not come out that good. So I'm gonna try this one. I'm gonna test this one. I like this young lady's moves. She really has some nice moves that she placed into action. So that's pretty much what is required to have is a stable camera. You want to make sure the character is in a full view. Now you can also do a seated position, which I played around with over here. This is my actual motion that I captured in my living room earlier today. And I'm gonna show folks some really great tricks of what I've learned how to do in terms of being able to capture your own movement without having your computer being in the actual space. So I'll be doing that probably in the future, most definitely, because some people probably have that issue where they don't have that much room in the space that they actually have their computer at. So they won't be able to move around that much and do much motion movement. So maybe you want to do it in your living room, or maybe you want to do it in your basement of your house, or maybe you want to do it outside, like outdoors. So I'll give y'all folks some really useful tips on how to do that kind of stuff. Now you can just record using a video camera, right? Just a regular video camera, maybe your phone or something like that. And your phone is not going to be the most stable. So you want to get a tripod. And once you get the tripod, or like a camera, a phone camera holder that holds it in place, or maybe just put it and prop it up on some type of I don't know, object that you brought outside with you. As long as you get that camera to be stable, you should get your full motion in there, or whoever's providing the motion for you, the motion actor, and you should be able to work off of that. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Now I'm gonna show y'all folks real quick what I came up with, just more of the janky motion type of stuff that comes out sometimes. So you'll get to see, I'm gonna move it up close, and you'll see why I created this live stream. So this live stream is not 100% about Plask. It's actually about how to stabilize these motions and how to get the benefit of using Plask, even though you got this crazy janky stuff going on. It looks like this guy is having some hemorrhages and he's about to maybe crap on himself. I don't know, whatever. But I noticed that I have some issues every now and then when I'm doing these live stream type of not live stream, I meant to say these AI mocap extractions using Plask, or any of the other tools that I've used in the past, like deep motion. I had some issues with it as well. They call that foot locking issues, but It's not necessarily just the feet that's going to be having these distorted issues where it's like janky motion. It's just motion capture in general. Even if you have a motion capture suit, it may not be 100% that you're going to get everything to be stable. So you're going to have to go in and do animation cleanup pretty much. And I recently learned on Blender some really cool things from a whole bunch of other people who knew how to do it in the past. And I watched their videos over the years, but I didn't really need the information at that time. But now that I need it, I was able to access my archives or maybe do a quick search with a keyword. Here goes another one of myself trying to do dance moves, and I'm not the best dancer, man. Not at all. But the dance moves were pretty decent, I guess, for what I can do. And I was just playing around, just doing some hand motions and things like that. I'm going to be doing some tutorials on how to get the hands to work with Plask in conjunction with Plask. And that's pretty much bringing the character over to Blender and animating the hands. So I did pull off that kind of stuff. And it worked out really well with one of my character models that I was actually utilizing from the Human Generator add-on on Blender. I learned how to do a pipeline between the Human Generator add-on on Blender and bring my janky motion of AI-based mocap over to Blender. And I got my Human Generator characters working. So that's pretty awesome, and I have plans in the future to start launching some short skit, more like short skit, how would you say, animated short videos, which is, you know, pretty much just randomly grabbing whatever you can, muster up in the form of animation and trying to create like a short film. And I also have some rap videos that I plan on launching because now I can get my arms moving the way I want it. And then with rap videos, you want your arms, your upper body moving a lot. That's what rappers do pretty much. So that's why I'm working on this stuff. I have some really great plans in the works with this stuff. So hopefully y'all folks will enjoy it. Feel free to check out anything that I have available. And also feel free to comment. Comments will help me to know what y'all folks need to know. If you have any questions or whatever the case may be, maybe you're not sure about anything that you see on the screen that I'm doing, or maybe you're interested in me doing future stuff to help y'all folks with what I'm doing. Just shoot anything out there for me in terms of commentary, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. So I'm the type of person on YouTube, I don't like to rush. I take my time with this stuff because I know that, just like myself, if a person is watching and they're impatient, if I'm watching a video and I'm impatient watching the video, I'm not going to learn anything. I pretty much have to take my time when it comes to the learning process. So that's why I take my time making my videos. Sometimes they go to 2 hours. The longest videos I've done for live streams were about 3 hours long, but live streams are generally designed for long length video footage. So that's why I do this. But if y'all folks don't like to come because of that, you choose not to come to my videos or whatever the case may be, that's on you. I'm not doing it just for one person. I'm doing it for the world, basically. So I know in the future, the world could actually watch these videos. So maybe they'll have millions of views. I don't know. I don't plan on that. What I do plan on is helping at least one person. If I can help one person, I know I can help 10. If I can help 10, I know I could help 100. And I know if I could help 100, I could help 1,000 and so on and so forth. So that's what this is all about. So I just wanted to get that out the way real quick before I jump into anything else that I'm doing. Now, if you're on Plask and you're trying to figure out navigation and all that stuff, I'm not going to show y'all folks in this video everything about how to work with Plask. I'm just showing y'all folks what I was able to do to some degree in extracting whatever I can. But also, I want to show y'all folks how to work that janky motion, like I said. So let's go over to this video. We're going to download it. I don't believe I downloaded it. If I did, yeah, I did download it. So it's over here in one of my folders on my computer. So we're going to let this go, and we're going to go into a new Plask setup. We're going to stop everything else that I'm doing, and we'll do it in this scene right here or this setup. So what I'm gonna do is, up here in the upper right corner, you have this little camera, and you also have the initial icon that's defaulted. The first icon that's defaulted in the upper right corner, that basically is set up for when you're supplying videos. If you go to the right one, this is for your webcam. So this is how I was able to extract my footage in my living room. I actually used the camera option. So I went in and then I used this iRuin webcam. Highly recommend for y'all folks to try that one out. iRuin webcam. So what that does is turn any mobile device that is able to accept the internet connection into a webcam. So once you do that, you can remotely do a lot of different stuff and use your phone as a webcam and basically tie it in and automatically extract the data. So right now it's my phone is right here on, I believe, no, it's not tied to my phone. It's actually tied to my tablet. So I have my tablet right here. Sorry about that. And here I am right here in my room. So the tablet is kind of, I don't know, everything is kind of weird with this thing. What's up, folks? How you doing? All right, so let me shut the tablet off. Actually, the tablet is off. Let me shut iRuin off. I just wanted to talk about that because that's part of my pipeline right now. I've used it and it worked out for me. So I just shut it off because I don't really need it. But that's what I use, one of my tools. So in order to get out of this mode, say you already was trying to create something and it failed for whatever reason and you can't seem to get out of it, you're just going to press the other camera and that sends you right back to pretty much the scene mode where you have the viewport and you have animation retargeting on the right, and on the left you have library. Now say you wanted to extract just a video from an actual video file. You can hit this plus right here, or you can drag it into the library area, maybe drag it under anything that's here that you see on the screen, towards the left of the screen. So what we're going to do, we're just going to hit the plus and go for that file. So where did I put the file? Let's see. We got to go back here. I believe I put the file. No, it's in the 3D. All right, NFTs. So there we go. The file should be here. No, it's not here. Blender, animation work. Okay, it's in the animation work. So the file is here. We're going to extract it after we load it up, obviously. Once it loads into the screen, it gives you the options to divide it up. So you can divvy it up from endpoint or start of the video. So you can go and just slice, get a small little slice if you want by dragging this over to the left or right. Or you can take the whole entire video. What I recommend is if you're recording something and you're out of the frame, just take the first few seconds where you wasn't in the frame and dice it up to that point. It's like editing out the video, basically. But you're editing out what you want to extract. So that's how that part works. And then if you're jumping out of the frame towards the end of the video, say you're recording yourself and you jumped out of the frame, you want to take that end point and move it where you jumped out, approximately where you started moving, actually, because once you start walking and all that stuff, you're going to create a lot of janky motion, unless it was a walk cycle that you was trying to create, or a run cycle, which I haven't tested yet, but I'm going to try that as well. I did create a walk in place, more like a walk cycle transition, which was interesting. I did that onto a live stream. I actually did it early in the game when I first got into Plask. So I've been doing Plask animations ever since I found it, because like I said, it's unlimited and it's free. So who doesn't like that for animation? So we're going to hit extract motion, and then you want to put a name in here. So I'm going to put karate. Can't even see my keyboard. Sorry about that, because I got my microphone in the way. So we're going to go okay. and it says it's going to take up to a minute. Now, that will basically be based on how many seconds you chose to extract. So if you go past 20 seconds, it's going to go up to maybe 3 minutes. If you go past 40 or 50 seconds, it's going to go up to like 5 minutes that it's going to take. So it will take much more longer if you choose to add more time. And I don't know if it has a limit in terms of the time that it's extracting. I don't recommend for you to extract past 20 seconds. So you want like 20-second clips, because then you'll be waiting here forever. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you should do that. And you don't want to load down their server too much and bog it down. It might cause issues. I have no idea about that, but I haven't tried to stretch it, and I don't even care to do that. So, you know, you're just going to wait here until it's done. Whenever it's done, it will show up as this little icon. It looked like a little small arc and a circle icon put together on the far left of the screen. This one is for the character that I have here. So I'm not going to be showing anybody anything about Unreal Engine right now in relation to it, but if you wanted to play around with Unreal Engine, they have the mannequin from Unreal Engine, and it's in a GLB file format, which is okay. Don't worry about that. It's still going to work on Unreal Engine. All you have to do is extract it. If you want to extract it, you right click on the mannequin itself in terms of the library area, and then go to export. I meant instead of extract it, I meant to export it, because you might get confused with the term extraction. Extraction is more related on Plask to the AI Mocap portion, where you can extract the video data. So let's go back and see, where was it at? Oh, it's right here. So this is where I was doing the extraction for the karate thing. So we're gonna put the karate one. Let's just let's see. I guess we'll play around with it and put it on the mannequin for now. Let's try that. Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna put it on. Let's put it on the night, just to play around. Let's see. Okay. So let's see if this turns out to be janky or not. And what I'm trying to do is just move it up a little bit and scroll it in, zoom it in, just so you can see everything. Surprisingly, it doesn't look too bad. I'm surprised. Wow. So that didn't look too bad to me. It actually looked better than a lot of the stuff that I created myself in my own home with my video stuff, trying to create the videos for the AI mocap. So I don't know if let me see if I'll bring that into Blender. Yeah, I'll bring it into Blender, because as you can see, the lower portion of the legs is going to be, hold on one second, it's going to have some issues. So you'll see how it's moving, like shaking side to side, shaking side to side, shaking side to side, wherever it's trying to make its solid stance. The stances are not solid. Now, one of the things I want to do also, besides using Blender in the future, what I'm going to try to do is bring it over to Pixcap. I don't know if y'all folks ever heard of Pixcap, but I'll show you that tool as well. It's very similar to Plask and Deep Motion. I don't know if y'all folks ever heard of Deep Motion, but this is Pixcap, a highly recommended tool to also use. This one has an AI mocap built in as well. That's what makes it similar, and it has a timeline as well as a graph editor. So that's one of the things that I love about Pixcap. I used it before a bunch of times, but I want to go back to it and most definitely take a lot of my motion capture files that I'm developing and go to it and try to work in the timeline area and the graph editor area, because what they do, they have a really dope way for you to lock the feet down. So they have a foot locking tools that could help you to basically clean up your animations and make them more stable. So I'm wondering if I could use it for my Plask animations, which Plask doesn't have that kind of setup in that tool functionality. So, and Blender doesn't have that type of tool functionality as well. They have rigs that you can build with the IKFK setup for trying to create for locking and stuff like that. But for the rigs that I'm using, I don't have any setup for that, so it won't work the same way. But on Blender, I'll show y'all folks what I'm talking about in terms of how I can make it work and in terms of the cleanup. So we're gonna move this character over to Blender, and in order to do that, like I was saying with the mannequin, you're gonna hit the right click mouse button on the actual title of that model. So the model that I'm using is night.gbl. This is the file for it in the actual Plask library. So we right click, go to export, and double click it or single click it. Then once it gets over here, we're gonna move it over as a FBX file in terms of exporting, and we're gonna double click the export option, and then it should show that it's actually moving it. It talks about something about takes 3 minutes. If it didn't work right away, you have to do it again. Yeah, it says this can take up to 3 minutes. It will try to export, and then you'll be able to move it over to Blender once you get the file. So after this, it's just gonna go to a folder and try to send it to any folder on your computer. You can designate which folder to send it to. So I'm just gonna create another folder for it, and let's see, my external hard drive takes some time, so it may not let me do it right away. I don't think it's on, actually. Yeah, my external hard drive is sleeping right now, so it may take a while. So here it comes. It's coming up. All right, so we're gonna put a nim 12. I've done a lot of animations, playing around, just testing. I'm gonna click save. Then we're gonna go over to Blender. Let's see. Here goes some stuff I was working on here. Another one I was working on. This is with me just sitting down. I'll show you how this one looks. This is a cleanup that I did. Just hit the play button, and all it has is just my arms moving and the head swaying a little bit, but it's really clean. Like, I really cleaned up this animation so that it looks like, it doesn't look like a real human, the actual 3D model. It looks like some sort of I don't know, space traveler. But since it doesn't have any face, you can't really tell if it's a human or maybe it's some sort of alien or something. I don't know. But the animation is not bad. It just has, it's like an idle animation, basically, a sitting idle. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of sitting idles. I want to do those kind of animations, and then create my own archives. And then what I'll try to do is offer it up to the online world. I don't know if I'm gonna make it free or not, but hey, animation is really, really awesome. So if you come up with some unique ones, maybe you can charge a small fee, and hey, that could help you to build up your animation studio or something like that if people are willing to buy it. That's what I recommend for some people, but for me, I'm definitely going for animation studio type thing and have some really, really unique custom animations that I created so that people will be willing to buy it. But other than that, that's that right there. We're gonna open up another Blender, and we'll end this one because I really don't need this. This is just a test in terms of cleaning up. And with this one, the character was moving, let's see, the whole body was moving in a janky motion. It was really out of control. So this one was just me moving my hands a lot, doing hand gestures, and I was just trying to see what I could do in terms of arm motions and things like that. So with this one, I'm going to be playing around with the fingers and the hands and trying to do custom hand animations to apply to the character. And this would be like a stiff model, like, you know, just playing around with mannequin models or something like that. I don't know. Just going to have fun. So that one, actually, let me save that one because I like this one. This is a nice staging process. So I'll put this in a NIM9 where I started it, and in a NIM1. And then in there, I'll just call it mannequin. I don't know if I spelled it right. I don't care. I'm gonna save that. And we're going to go to file and go to new and general. All right, so Blender starts out like this. We don't have anything going on. We're just gonna go to file, import, and I believe I exported that other one as a FBX. And we're gonna bring it in. We gotta go to Blender, subfolder, and NM12. There we go. And then when you're bringing them in, say it's a Mixamo file that you're bringing in as a FBX file. All these are Mixamo, by the way. Let me bring you back over here. These are Mixamos. Most of them are Mixamos because, as you can see, it says armature and it has a dash line or a big line break. And then Mixamo.com, line break, and then it says layer 0. So these are all Mixamos. And then this one on the top, the mannequin, that one is only for Unreal Engine. So these are the 4 default that always come up on Plask. So let me show you Plask, the main homepage. So it's Plask AI. So this is the main homepage before you sign in or whatever and get your stuff running. So it looks like this. Pretty cool, right? So you go to get started, you hit the get started. It might be in the middle of the screen or in the upper right corner. And every single time you restart it, it's going to come up defaulted with these 4 files. So these may change in the future or may go away completely, and they may offer up other ones in the future. So it's up to the developers what they choose to offer up regarding Plask, but they definitely supply you with stuff that you're going to need for other things. So all of these can actually be exported to Blender no matter what file format that you choose. I believe, let's see. So none of them can be exported until you bring the character into the viewport. First, you got to bring it to the viewport, then you can export it. You have a timeline down here where you can do all the different editing if you want to, but it's not much editing you can do that's going to take you to the cleanup level besides getting rid of keyframes. So I recommend for you to bring it to maybe Maya or bring it over to Blender or any other 3D animation software that allows you and affords you to have a graph editor and or any other advanced editing features where you can edit out a lot of the stuff dealing with the keyframes, and you can basically, you know, really polish the animation so that it doesn't have all that crazy motion in it. But other than that, that was that part. I just wanted y'all folks to see. Now with this file, this FBX file, what you want to do is scroll down on the far right on Blender once you're trying to import it, and go to armature and then choose automatic bone orientation. If you don't do that, it may cause a little issue for you in terms of the way that the bones are oriented. And it may not work out the way you want in terms of doing all the cleanup and all of the file transfers and the pipeline. If you're trying to retarget the bone structures and things like that, you can do retargeting on Blender for sure. Just like you can retarget your mannequin over on Unreal Engine and try to get your mannequin to convert to the MetaHuman character models that they have on Unreal Engine. That's possible to do with Plask. And if y'all folks want to see a video, I'll bring you real quick to a video before I get the cleanup done. Actually, what was that? That was just some communications I was doing regarding some other stuff with Pixcap. So let's move over real quick to, what was I going to show you folks? Oh, the video. So the video I just recently watched, let's see, I'm bringing y'all folks to it. Go to my channel, leave this page, and it is a most recent one. I gotta go to my library because, okay, so it's by JSFILMZ, and it's known as Free Unreal Engine MetaHuman Motion Capture. So go check out JSFILMZ. It's spelled JSFILMZ. Check out his location if you want to learn anything related to MetaHuman and Unreal Engine. He has tons of videos and things that are very, very useful. If you want to create your own animated shorts, you want to create maybe animated film or anything in terms of motion capture type data using MetaHumans, things like that. He's really into it and trying to help people to learn how to create short films, basically. So you can go in there, and maybe even a long length film. You can go in there and you can learn from his stuff. But this video shows you how to use Plask in conjunction with your MetaHumans. So you can turn your MetaHumans into animated MetaHumans. So MetaHumans don't come animated. They come basically in a specific pose. I believe it's like an A pose. I don't think it's in a T pose. I think it's in an A pose. And then you have to go in and you have to manipulate and retarget and do all kinds of different things on Unreal Engine. So again, it's Free Unreal Engine MetaHuman Motion Capture. And then at the back of it, it's Plask. He put the term Plask. That's his title. So I'll put the link to this since I talked about it, and I'll put it in my description area for my live stream as well. Because that's really important type stuff. Like when you find relevant things and you want to help people to learn it, it would behoove you to check out in detail, from somebody who really knows what they're doing. So he definitely knows what he's doing. He's really good at what he does. So we're gonna go to Git, not Git. We're gonna put JSFILMZ. JSFILMZ. Let's see, Plask. No, not Plask. We'll put MetaHuman. Let's see. We'll type in Animate MetaHuman using Plask. How to. Something like that. I just created my own title for it. It doesn't really matter, but then I put the link to it. So I think people could tell just by seeing that would be what the video is all about. So that's that. And let's go back over to Blender. All right. So we're going to bring in this. We're going to import it. Just wanted y'all folks to get that. If you want to know how to do it, like I said, I'm not doing that right now. I don't really feel like doing it because it takes a very long, tedious process. When I say very long, it's much longer than meets the eye. Like the average person may not know how to do it right away. If you first got started with Unreal Engine, it's going to take you some time to figure out how to puzzle all those things together. But most definitely, if you're not doing it by yourself and you watch his videos, he has a lot of videos like I told you about it, you'll figure it out. Even if you don't look at the manual information, the documented information on Unreal Engine, which I also have a link to that. I may provide that for folks who are more novice to it and have no idea how to use it. What I was talking about in terms of utilizing Mixamo characters on Blender in my previous live stream, I'll showcase that here. If y'all folks notice, the mesh doesn't look good. It looks really weird looking, and you can like pretty much see through it, kind of see the bones and all that stuff. So what you want to do to get rid of that mesh issue, you want to select the character mesh or whatever, and you go into the materials data on Blender, or materials properties on the lower right corner. You're going to scroll all the way down until you get to blend mode. You can drag it out on the screen so you can see it better. So it says alpha, blend, opaque, this type of stuff. You want to go to blend mode and then select opaque. That's going to fix part of the issue. Then to complete the rest of the issue, you want to go and scroll back up and go where it says specular. You want to drag that specular down. The specular will get rid of most of the issue. And then the rest of it, I believe it comes from metallic. Yeah, so metallic will be an issue as well. Now, I noticed that the hands still have the issue. So that's because the hands are have a separate mesh, it looks like. So you just select the hands mesh, and that ties in with the face mesh. So with that, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have to go down in the armature, go to head, hands, and then in that you go to mesh, and you go to night. So if you scroll down without going to that and try it again, it may not work. We'll try it. All right, it worked. So if I wasn't selected on hands, I don't know if that would have worked, but let's bring it back to alpha blend and try to do it just by itself. Yeah, so it is this here. So it's already selected as soon as you select the hands. So yeah, switch it to opaque, and then the hands will be fixed. So as you can see, most definitely if you wanted to render it, you're going to need to do that, because then it's going to look really bad. Now, I believe when you render it, it gets rid of those issues, but I'm not sure 100%. I haven't tried it. I just like to get rid of it so I could see something that looks remotely decent. So now the bones you can't see, obviously, right? So in order to bring the bones to the front, you select it. Then you go to object data properties, where it has this little man icon. Select that, and you scroll it down to viewport display. And then from viewport display, you select in front. Now, I'm going to see if anybody has any questions at this moment, because this is a good point in time just to check. But I'm going to make sure I turn on my phone so I don't hear anything. We got somebody doing some garbage, so we're going to report that. Unwanted commercial stuff. But before I do that, I'm going to go to the channel and make sure I block it. So I'm blocking garbage channels, because these people are doing some stuff that don't make any damn sense. Some people out here on YouTube. So yeah, that's that. We're going to report it, unwanted commercial garbage, and send it away. So that wasn't really a comment. No problem. All right. So where was I at? So we did the in front. Now the bones is there. The reason why I want to do that is because I don't want to have to keep trying to find the bones every single time I'm working on the character. So what we're going to do now is just hit the play button just to see how janky it is in Blender, but pretty much all the jankiness is going to come with it. So when you hit play, and you see it's like stuttering all over the place, but it is moving really nice. So I actually love the animation that came out of that girl's moves. And even though she was a small tiny figure in the video, still turned out pretty good. Now, keep in mind what you want to do. I learned from somebody's animation stuff about blocking. So I'm using the blocking concept in terms of animation blocking, and what that means is you're taking one frame at a time, or one frame of reference at a time, with respect to bones. So you select one individual bone or maybe a small group of bones and only work on that particular frame by frame reference of motion. And you're only moving it in one position at a time. So you're building up more like a frame by frame reference of animations, and they call that blocking. So you're basically blocking out any of the other potential moves so that you just see specific moves that you're moving. And this is dealing with the reference. So I already have the reference. This is basically the full video is built in. So I'm going to use that as my reference. So everything is already built in. So what I'm going to do is go backwards and isolate bones and pull out motions I don't want, if that makes any sense. So that's basically a summary of what I'm going to be doing. And I already done it. Like y'all folks already saw some of my end results if you watched the beginning of the live stream, and it was successful to some degree. I'm not the best at this, but pretty much I'm gonna do what I learned recently. So I have the bones selected. I'm gonna go to pose mode, and that way I can select individual bones as opposed to all of the bones. So whichever one I choose to select is gonna highlight in blue. So I'm going to start with the legs first because I noticed the legs had issues. So I'm going to select all of these lower leg portions, which is the toes and the foot. So this is the right foot. So I'll start with that. And I guess I could start with the right and left. So I'll choose both of them. Hold on 1 second. And I'll try to grab it at a point where it only selects the toes and the right and left foot. All right, so we got that. We got that. We're gonna scroll up, and I'm gonna do two different things. I'm gonna scroll up from the bottom and bring out the timeline, and I'm gonna add another timeline in there. So why I'm doing that is because I want to get rid of this one and turn this one, the upper timeline, into a graph editor. So with the graph editor, pretty much you can go in and fine tune, adjust what you want to adjust in the graph editor, which is pretty dope how it works. So you go in and basically it manipulates the keyframes, but using an animation graph editor, you can extract a good amount of stuff, and you can actually polish it. And when you first look at the graph editor, it doesn't make any sense. For me, per se, when I was first learning about the graph editor on Blender, I didn't learn anything. It kind of intimidated me and it threw me off. But if you want to watch a video to learn about the graph editor, let's see. There's a guy who is really, really, really super smart. He is an expert because he actually went to school for it, for animation, and he has some stunning videos that I watched recently. I just recently watched it within the last 3 or 4 days ago, and I've been trying to binge watch a lot of his content because when I first started watching, I had no idea what he was doing, what he was saying. But now I have more experience in animation, and I think I have a chance of becoming an animator finally because I do understand what he's saying now, because I'm doing some of the stuff that he pretty much is broadcasting and talking about. So to get to that video, we'll go through again real quick. I think I got to go through my library, and we'll see all first and then scroll down. I think I put it in animation, but I just want to get into some of the stuff that I was watching. So this is one of the things that I'm going to be doing, decimate keyframes and ghost curve type stuff. So here it is right here. This is one of the videos by Sir Wade Neistad, I think that's his name. I'm not sure if I messed up his name, but I'm not great at names. But this is the guy. I'm pretty sure if you're into animation and on YouTube, searching randomly, 9 times out of 10 you found him in the past. But he definitely goes hard at helping people to understand the keys to learning animation and actually becoming better at it. So let's see if I have any more that I recently was watching. I have some more. But I don't know at what point. I watched this one here, tips for polishing animation from a Disney animator. Here it goes, Graph Editor 101. So this is the video here. I'm gonna right click and copy this link. Anything that I learned from that could apply to this particular cleanup stuff, you definitely want to go in and watch that stuff. So how to animate with the graph editor. Without this video, I wouldn't be able to understand what I'm doing, what I'm going to be doing in this live stream. It's really, really important to know. So once I watched this video, I started to go to Blender and I started looking at the graph editor even more deeper, because I was like, wow, this guy has so much knowledge. It's beyond anything that I could comprehend in terms of animation. It is just mind-blowing what you can do. But he went to school, like I said, for it. So he knows the graph editor from the back of his head. Like he knows how this thing works dimensionally in terms of the mathematical elements to it, things like that. Like he really knows how it works. He knows the physics to it as well. So a lot of this stuff is basically like calculus, advanced calculus, which I know advanced calculus and I did really well. I actually aced calculus when I was in college. So, I mean, I guess that's why I'm kind of attracted to animation, because it deals with calculus, but you don't have to know calculus to understand the graph editor. You just have to be patient and watch videos like he created and just learn from him. Learn every little detail of what he talks about. And if you do that, it will take you through leaps and bounds from the point of where you had no idea what you was doing and you was dumbfounded to the point where now you actually can understand the graph editor and go further. So not every graph editor is as powerful as Blender's, because Blender has way more stuff than the average. So like what I'm doing right here, I just recently learned how to do. So I went over to the left of the screen. I knew how to click these down arrows, but I didn't know what all these things really meant in terms of what you can do to manipulate them, how you can isolate them, how you can basically go in and utilize each individual one as opposed to the other ones. So these are basically coordinate axes. So on a graph, you got the XYZ coordinate plane system. I don't know if y'all folks know about graphs, but if you go all the way back to grade school, when you first learned about graphs, the XYZ coordinate, so you got generally the x-axis was the horizontal plane, the y-axis would be the vertical plane. But on Blender, that's not so. On Blender, by default, the x-axis and y-axis are both in the horizontal plane. So it goes across from left to right. Both the x-axis and y-axis. And then there's what is known as a z-axis, which is the z-axis. And that we didn't learn in elementary school or high school pretty much, unless you went to an advanced mathematics high school. In advanced math, the z-axis is not within the horizontal or vertical plane. It's actually an extra axis that will go in a tangential plane, or in a plane that would be like a vector going off into more of a diagonal. But in Blender, it goes in the vertical axis. So that's the reason why some people get confused, because they're thinking XY axis like in math, but no, there's a vertical axis in the horizontal, in the Z direction, going positive Z and negative Z. Positive would be going up, negative would be going down. And then that's for the Z axis. For the horizontal, negative is going to the left, positive is going to the right. With the Y axis, positive is going to the left and negative is going to the right. So you just could look at this gizmo and click on differing elements of the gizmo and you can tell which direction you're going. Now, that is really important to know when it comes to the graph editor, because when you go in and you select any of these coordinate plane systems, this is with respect to what element you selected in the viewport. So particular elements that I chose were the foot, left foot, right foot, and the toes. So that's what's going to show up over here on the left of the screen in the graph editor. Whatever you chose to select, basically dealing with your armature or rig. So that's where the graph editor comes in, and it brings you what you selected. If I deselect it, it's going to go away, as you can see. So there's nothing on the screen. As soon as I select it, it shows up. Now, the only one that just showed up was the right foot, and it tells you exactly what it is. So right foot, right foot. So this is the X location, Y location, Z location. So if you understand the coordinate systems, when you select one of them, the X location means that you're going to change the location. So location would be a move. In the X direction, it would move. Negative would go left. Positive would go right. So that's how it will work. So I would be moving the bone left or right if I'm using the X location. Left meaning negative X, right meaning positive X in these coordinate directions. And then the same thing with the Y, but the Y is opposite. So if I'm going positive, Y is going towards the left. Negative Y will be going towards the right. But actually, the left and right for the negative Y, positive Y, and all that is not necessarily left and right. It could be going back. So if you look and you rotate the viewport, let's scroll this down. Here's the X-axis indicated by the red. Here's the Y-axis indicated by the green. And this is the ground plane. So in a horizon, if you're looking at a horizon line, they both on the horizon line if you move it up. See that? So that's why you could see it depending on how you orient your mouse. This would be left and this would be right. But if you rotate it, this would be left and this would be right. But keep in mind, as well as you orienting your camera, your gizmo is going to orient at the same time. See that? So the gizmo is rotating. So with respect to the gizmo, left and right depends on where you put your mouse. So don't get too stuck with the whole left and right thing, but think about with respect to the origin point. So the origin point is where Blender is defaulted at. So the default state of Blender is pretty much how I was explaining it, which is around here or so. Or when you go to File and you go New, that's the default state that Blender starts at. Basically when you first load up Blender. And the origin point would be the 000 XYZ coordinate. So wherever you see this 3D cursor, when it first originates, when Blender is set up by default, that is the origin point. You can change the origin point, and what the origin point is basically where your 3D elements are going to be originating at, and also where they're going to be rotating upon, unless you change your rotation of your pivot point. So you change your pivot point, you can go to individual origins, and that will change the orientation of where the actual object is going to rotate around. So say I wanted to rotate this particular bone, but say I wanted to rotate it around the 3D cursor, then the bone will rotate in a 360-degree axis around the 3D cursor if I chose to do that. But if it's an individual origin, they're going to tie they're going to tie an access point from, I believe, one of the joints. You're one of the joints of the bones, and then they're going to rotate the bone around its own origin. So around its own axis. So that's where this whole pivoting works. I'm not really teaching 100% about this stuff. I'm just showing y'all folks, these are things you need to know, because when you're doing cleanup and you're using the graph editor, you're not going to know what you're doing unless you understand that. You're going to be a little confused. So I knew that stuff before I got into understanding the graph editor. So now that I learned a lot from that other guy that I showed you, or if y'all folks see, I don't know if y'all folks saw it, but now that I learned a lot about the graph editor from him, I can join the knowledge together with what I know about the viewport, and I can go a lot further. And then also I can do more with my animations when I'm going in to try to build custom animations or something like that. So I'm getting a lot better in terms of what I know, basically. And knowing is half the battle. As I remember, I used to watch G.I. Joe when I was a kid. They used to always say that as a saying, as one of those catchphrases in the cartoon, but it's most definitely true. Knowing is half the battle when it comes to animations, because if you don't know a lot about animation, you're really not going to get the best out of it. Unless you're like super duper talented and somehow you figured it out without having to learn much. But that's rare. So let's see. All right, so what we're going to do here, we're going to do some simple stuff before I go too far with this. So like I said, all I want to do is stabilize. Let's just go with one side. So we're going to stabilize just this one side. Forget about both sides. So we got the right foot and the right toes. And when we go with the timeline, the reason why I got the timeline here, if you hit the play button, you'll see is really crazy. It's going crazy, right? So what I learned to do, as long as you understand the timeline, this stuff is going to work out for you. So what I learned to do is I go over here, select this little pin thing, which opens up all the channels. When you select that pin, it opens up all the channels. See this little, it looks like not a needle, but a thumbtack type of thing. I don't know. So it's going to bring up all this crazy stuff that you see in the graph editor. If you don't do that, it won't bring everything up. So what that is, I believe, is all of the channels. So everything, for every single thing. So I don't really need that. I just wanted y'all folks to see what it pulls up. So let's uncheck it, and it's only going to pull up just this one here. Okay, so another thing you can do, you can scroll up and uncheck these. Then you can hit armature and then check them all. So now these little eyes, this basically shuts off the usage of them, I believe. So say I wanted to select one individual one. Let's go for the Y location. We can deselect all of these. Let's see. And only have one showcased on the screen. And then when you have only one showcased on the screen, you can highlight everything. So we'll highlight everything. All right, that one's highlighted. Now, one thing it's not doing, it doesn't have like crazy lines going everywhere. So this particular bone is probably stable, I'm assuming. So let's select another bone. So now what we're going to do is select the shin bone. So that's this bone here, or right leg. So let's check out the graphs in here. So this looks a little bit more unstable. So this is probably the cause to all that jankiness. That one, let's check the next one. This one too. So when you put them together, it's a lot of out of control keyframes that are going all over the place. So one of the things that I learned was the decimate feature. So what you're gonna do is hit the the F3 button on the keyboard. This one I learned from, oh, and also clean keyframes. So I don't know how this comes up, but I tried to bring it up in a previous session and it didn't want to come up. But you want to type in, I guess, key and then clean keyframes. When you select it, it gives you the ability to clean out the keyframes, which what it does is it divvies up the keyframes and it reduces the amount of keyframes that you have. And that's generally what the decimate keyframes option does. But I didn't even get a chance to pull up decimate. I just selected it and it came up automatically. So let's see. So you're gonna start out with a threshold and it's at 0.001. So when you go to the far right of the threshold and you hit this little arrow, it's gonna increase. And every time you increase, you're gonna notice that the keyframes are starting to drop. You go also look in the timeline and you'll see it's gonna decrease the amount of keyframes in there. So the less keyframes, it's gonna maintain the graph structure to some degree, but the less keyframes means that it's not gonna be as janky. So we're gonna hit the play. And we'll try it with the upper portion as well. We'll do Shift F3. Oops. Not Shift F3. What did I do? I changed to a different editor. My bad. We're going to do F3. That's it. And then the keyframe thing again. And we'll try the same amount. 0.111 and hit the play. Let's go back and let's slow the motion down. Right now it's moving very fast, so actually a slower version should be when I go to viewport shading to rendered, should move slower. Nope, it's moving super fast still. So yeah, that means that girl was moving very fast. Let's try to change the frames per second. We're gonna go all the way down to the lowest level that we can. We're gonna make it like 10 frames per second. So I'm gonna type in, hold on, go to custom and type in like, let's make it 5 frames per second. See if it moves much slower. Yeah, there we go. So that way we can get a better view, a bird's eye view on the isolation. Now another thing you can do is you can hit the alternate key and the 0 key on the keyboard. And what that will do is, let's see, we want to just isolate maybe the X and then do the Y and then do the Z one by one. So we're gonna deselect all that and then make sure we have it highlighted. Set this to 500 on the end frame and make sure all of them are highlighted. Now, I don't know which one is showing up here. Oh, I didn't select it. All right, we selected it. I don't see any curve. So let's select the next one. Still no curve. Hold on one second. Let's bring these back. So which ones are the curve? I guess that's rotation. So we'll get off of these locations and we'll do a rotation. Yeah. So it's the coordinating rotation, Okay. Yeah, so we got all these coordinating rotations. So we'll select all of those, and then we'll do alternate 0 or alternate O on the keyboard. When you do alternate O, what it does is it takes the graph and tries to make it more linear and smooth. So it smooths down the graph. So I did it a bunch of times. Let's see what it does with the motion of that leg. See how that leg is not crazy janky? That's nice. Okay, so let's go back. Let's watch it again. Okay, so the other portion now that's causing the jankiness is just the hip. So I just now took out some of the motion from the lower leg portion and the thigh portion, but I'm gonna do more on the lower leg portion as well because I still see some jankiness with that one. So we're gonna do alternate 0. Actually, let's do F3 one more time just to see where the clean keyframes are. And I want to apply this because it wasn't applied by using the left click mouse button. So that applies it. And then look at the motion. Yeah, that looks pretty decent. Okay. So this one wasn't applied as well. F3, clean keyframes, left click, and there we go. So that's applied. Now that's applied and this one's applied. Let's go and see what we got. So the other leg is much more unstable, it seems. All right, that's good. So the last part that I want to do is the hip. But the hip, you have to be very, very careful with it because see how I got all of this crazy extremes? So you got to be careful with the hip for the most part because the hip is responsible for all of the rotations and the forward and backward motion. So going into XY, negative XY, and Z and negative Z, it's responsible for all those motions. So here goes the locations here. So you got X location hips, X location or Y location hips, and Z location. So what I want to do is eliminate the Z for sure because I don't want too much up and down motion. See how it's like, looks like the legs are floating. I don't want all of that crazy up and down motion. So we're going to try to eliminate some of the Z. So with that, we will delete some of the keyframes. Not delete, but we'll clean it. So use the F3, clean the keyframes, and keep that going. See what it's doing. Doesn't look like it's doing much. Actually I got to, hold on 1 second. Okay, so hit the A key, select them all. That's what I did wrong. And just select this one. There we go. So now let's try it. F3, clean keys, and now it's going in. See, it's breaking it down. All right, so that looks pretty decent. I'm at 0.9. Let's see what it does. Yeah, so it's not moving up and down too crazy. but it's rotating, as you can see. So then what I'm gonna do here is alternate zero a bunch of times and just smooth this out, and then go back. So every time you see the rise and falls, those are when it goes up and down at an extreme, I believe. So now it's gonna stay in one place. See, that's it bending around. So that's those rotations, and when the body is bending and moving a little bit, as you can see. See, now it's going up and down. That was the kick. And then let me just scroll this down. You basically can see what it's doing. It's repositioning itself. All right, so we'll do a little bit alternate zero, maybe like 2 more times. You can do it while it's doing this. I did it about 5 more times, just to keep it even more clean. Now what I noticed is that I lost my leg kicks. So it's more like a give or take type of thing. I lost a lot of my leg kicks. So when I go back in, I'm probably going to start out with just this itself. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start it over from scratch and go back in and just take out the hips on its own. So we'll go FBX. Actually, we'll just bring back the legs animations. So we'll bring this one in. You can actually copy the keyframes from a previous model. So now we'll just go out to we're in object mode. Good. And we'll try to see if we can get his keyframes to show up. Doesn't seem like the keyframes are showing up. There we go. So this seems like it got all the keyframes. Hold on a second. All right, that's that one, and that's this one. Okay, so look at the difference. You can see the difference of the curve. That's that curve. Actually, this is just one of them because I selected just one on here. So that's the Z location for the hips, I think. Let's see. Pose. No, this is everything. But why is it not showing all of the curves? It's only showing one. Oh, I see why. All the other curves are small. Okay, so yeah, that's all the curves. Okay, there we go. So everything is in this one. We don't have anything extracted, which is good. So we will get back some of the leg motion for sure. So let's see. You know what I'll do? I'll just take what I did for the hip out of this one and then move it into that one and just replace it. Let's try that. That should work out. So we'll go to pose mode, go in, and we're just gonna right click, copy, and then we'll go to the other character and then go pose mode. Okay, it should work. And then go to the one frame. Right click and paste. There we go. So that should have worked out for that one. Or let's just delete everything. Hold on, let's just delete it first and then right click and paste. Oh, okay, we got to go to the 0 frame first and put in an initial frame. So we'll put in lock rod scale there and then move it to the 1 frame and right click and paste. All right, so yeah, this is the new graph. See that? It doesn't look too crazy. See, it's like you got this one at the bottom that was edited out. All right, for the hip. So this may move just like that, except the legs is gonna still do the kicks. See? So we have to figure out what move is the leg kick. So that's what we need to do, because the leg kick we want to keep. So the knee up. So let's go to that bone and look at the rotation. And the knee up would be rotating on the x-axis. So we got to make sure that the x-axis is not removed. The rotation for the x. And then we'll get rid of the y and the z. That's what we'll do. So let's try that leg first and this leg. But we'll keep the y and the z. Okay, we'll do that. So we'll bring this down, bring this up, and look for the location for y and z. The x-axis is going to go away. Well, the not location. We're doing rotation. So that's the quaternion rotation. So yeah, the x we're going to keep, and the y and the, so we'll send this away, and then everything else will go away. Oops. Okay. Oh, and then this one as well. Keep the x. Yeah, the y and the z. Okay, the y and the z, we'll make sure we work on that one. So now we'll do this. We'll take this out and we'll test it and see if it works. So we'll do F3, clean keyframes, and that just knocked it out completely. So let's test it before. Oh shoot. Let's see. Okay, that's not good. Let's do F3 again. Clean keyframes. We're gonna bring it back. See what it does. Nope, somehow I got rid of it. So I'm gonna have to edit that out, edit that out, edit that out. There we go. So somehow the F3 was too far. So that's what the problem was. All right, we'll just clean up to that degree right there. Not gonna go too crazy. So let's see. All right, so let's check the beginning portion. Hit the play. See, it's still jittery and jumpy. So we'll just clean up the curve. Let's see. Still jittery and jumpy. Yep. So we'll do, just go back. Bring it up where the kick is at. And see what it does to the kick. like right there. We're going to do alternate 0. Yeah, it brings it down to some degree, but I'm not worried about that too much because we can use, let's see. We'll just bring it up like that. And then bring it up. And bring it up. And when we get that up, we will bring this up too. Hold on 1 second. Make a kick, you know? So let's see. So this one goes all the way out. And then that one brings it down like that. All right, so all I did was just edit out. I used the auto keyframing. So I edited actually in and edited out some of the motion, the janky motion, and I edited in just that rotation on the x-axis. So let's go back and see what it looks like. That looks good. So you can go in and do those minor adjustments while you're doing the editing of the leg so that the leg is more stable on the other axes. So like I said, I'm eliminating only specific axes. So the rotations on the Y and the Z coordinating rotations, I got rid of to some degree, not all of it. So now I can do much more. Let's move it back up. So we'll bring it where the leg goes all the way up to the kick. And we'll do a little bit more. So we're going to do alternate 0. Alternate 0. Oops, alternate 0. Alternate 0. And what it's doing is it's bringing down this one. And then we're going to just bring it back up. Like so. And then this one. Yeah. Alternate 0. Make sure all is selected, hit the A key. Yeah, so that one, that's maximized. So that's good. So okay. So all the other kicks, I'll work on that as well. But that kick did not go all the way up. That was kind of weak. It's supposed to go all the way up. So with that, we got to bring it all the way up. Boom. Like so. So let's bring that back and see what it does. Okay. I can take that even though it's still not going all the way up. It's stopping for some reason. Something's stopping it. Okay, so we'll push this all the way up. So. Oh, that's because I don't have the automatic keyframe on. My bad. Boom. Okay. Yeah, now it's working. Now, you see what I mean by the reference? I got a reference, so that means that it's already pre-configured to do what I wanted it to do. I'm just working off of motions that's already pre-designated by the mocap. So to clean it, you just go in and you just take out what orientations of the rotation or the whatever axes that you need to remove. You work on those and you try to eliminate what you think is causing the motion going the wrong direction. So if things are going bad in the horizontal axis or vertical axis or whatever axis it is, you want to use the alternate zero. What alternate zero does, it's like a proportional editing of the F curves. So you're basically eliminating some of the portions of the F curves and you're taking out the curvature and making it less of a out of control curve. It becomes more of a controlled curve and more smooth. You're basically smoothing it out. It's a smoothing feature. And then the F3 is basically taking out a lot of the keyframes that are unnecessary, that are too close together, which causes more of the janky motion as well from the motion capture. And since that motion capture data is coming from a video, it's not exact, like it's not ideal conditions. So if you have really good ideal conditions when you're recording, you're gonna get less jankiness, I think. So let's see. Yeah, that looks good. It's not really like going crazy. It's a little small movement. And like I said, a lot of that's probably coming from the hip. So yeah, we can still work on this a little bit more. Refining. And this stuff takes a lot of time, man. It definitely will take a lot of time for you to get it right, to get it to the specification you're looking for. But even now, it's looking better. All right, let's do the other leg. We'll do this side. And pretty much we're just knocking out those particular positions. So we'll take the locations out. You're probably going to have to work on the locations as well, because the locations can screw things up to some degree. So let me do locations first. We're going to do alternate 0. And then see what that looks like. Actually, what was I thinking? I did everything else except the locations. That was so stupid. All right. I'm just undoing enough to make sure that I got back to the right position. Sorry. All right, that's good. So now we're going to get rid of everything but the locations. There we go. Now hit the A key, make sure we select all. And then alternate 0. So that should be clean already. Look at that. That's cleaned up. So the locations are good for that leg. Let's try this one. Yep. Locations are good. So it's just the rotations that's a big issue. So we'll leave the X alone. And we'll do I don't know what the W coordinate is. Maybe I have to work on that on the other ones as well. We'll remove some keyframes, F3, clean, and then see what it does. Let's see. Actually, I don't like that. We'll put that back. We'll do F3 again. And we're going to reduce the leg and watch what it does first. So that's the first kick. And then it does a roundhouse kick. So with the roundhouse kick, is the roundhouse kick wide enough? That's the question. See, the other one doesn't work too good. So with the roundhouse kick, it actually doesn't look too bad, but we can make it bigger. Let's make that bigger. Like that. And go to the next frame. That. Then go to the next frame. Like that. Then go to the next frame. Like that. Then go to the next frame. Like that. And go to the next frame like that. You're just making it wider. So let's back it up. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on, something's not right here. Let's hide this one because this one's getting in the way. We'll hide this one here. Hit the H key. And we're gonna bring the mesh in because can't really see the mesh that well. See. Opaque. Okay. So let's see what it's doing. Let's hide everything. Let's see what it's doing. Bring this over. We'll hide this part. And does that work? No, the play button doesn't work. Let's bring that back. Bring this down. And then play. Let's go back, hit the play button. That doesn't look too bad, actually. So let's go back, hit the play button. One kick. Yeah, that looks good, actually. Wow. So far I fixed it to some degree. It actually looks really good for that roundhouse. Nice. You see how big the roundhouse is? That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be big. So as you can see, folks, with Blender, you can do some amazing stuff cleaning up. So boom. So that big roundhouse will like knock somebody's head off. Let's turn it this way. Boom. That is nice. That is nice. And all of that is from her move that she made. Let's see. Let's go back. Yo, that young girl, she got some serious moves. All of that was from her move over here. See that kick? That one little roundhouse kick was dope. That's why I want to credit these people, because they really took the time to focus on what they're doing. Like, now what I want to do is also mirror some of her foot locking, because her foot is landing in good positions and creating stronghold moves. Now you saw she did a punch in there. I didn't even see that in the character. See the double punch and the jump kick? I didn't see that. So let's go back and see if we can see that. Yeah, that's it right there. Now it did not jump. So I can fix that and make that a jump. So we will do that for sure. So let's bring the bones back and see what's wrong with that jump kick. Select the bones, and there's no keyframes in here. I don't know why, but we're not getting any keyframes. Probably because of where I left it at. And where did I leave it? I have no idea. Okay, now we got some keyframes. So let's go back a bunch. That's the jump right there. So she did the punch. 1, 2. Didn't show it. Only showed one little, looks like one move. That's a punch. So I gotta fix that. That's the second punch. I didn't put any fists in there either. I gotta put some fists in there when I get the chance. But this is a jump. So he's supposed to come off the ground. So we're gonna do that right now. And make sure he comes off the ground. Let's get these handles. And we're gonna get him up in the air. We got the automatic keyframe and get him to go up. But we want to make it look realistic. We don't want it to be crazy. So we're gonna do frame by frame. He has to keep going up, because she literally jumped. She jump kicked. So this is all happening in the air. This should be at the height of her jump. The kick part. He's a big guy, so he should be able to jump and kick pretty high. I'm going too high, but I'm exaggerating because he got a nice move. And now he should be coming down, so he should be there. And then here. And then here. And then here. And then here. So the rest, his foot is going to be coming down, and then boom, like that. So let's back up. Like so. So we start from there, and then I'll work my way back to refine the height of that kick. So that's really too high, but at least I got a starting point. So we go to the peak and we work our way back. So let's see, where did he start? He started here. He goes up, and the kick should flap up. So this should go up like that at each portion of his move. It should keep going up. That. Boom. See that? So he goes up, kick, and then down. Now let's go back and see what it looks like. It should look good even though he jumped so high. See? So let's see. Boom. He goes up so high. So I'm going to start bringing this down. So this one, I'll break it in half. Vertical, we're going to bring it in half. So we're going to, oops, we got to hit the hip bone. Okay, so the hip bone, bring him down about there. And go to the next frame and bring him down about there. The next frame, bring him down about there. To be accurate, we got to use the graph actually. So he starts from there, starts the leg up, he jumps. Let's bring this down a little bit. Bring this down a lot. Bring this down more, because he's coming down now. Bring this down more. He's coming down. Oops. So this one has to come down more. That's it. Okay. So let's see it now. I like action. Action is really great. Yeah, that's it right there. So let's rotate them. See on the side. That's nice. All right. So I think this is working really well. It's turning out pretty good. I'm going to end this live session, but I'm going to show y'all folks the end results of this cleanup. I mean, it can keep going. You can do this for days and days and days and days until you mastered every refined move. And you basically broke it down to all the elements that become as stable as you possibly can get. The final finishing touch, I guess, is going to be the foot locking on it. So when I lock the foots in position, and they basically, I'm going to be blocking out the feet, obviously, and eliminating all of the strenuous moves in any other directions that it shouldn't be doing. But the rotation should be there. Even within the rotations, we don't want that crazy janky motion going on. So I'm going to be eliminating the X and Y locations while it's rotating, because it should just be rotating, not doing X, Y locations at the same time, because that's a lot of jitter. So just keep in mind, you can do all of this stuff, and check out that guy's video, man. He will help you to understand what I understand to this point, because every little access point of what you can move can be fixed in the graph editor, but you got to understand to basically how to refine the graph editor so you can get your motions for each of the elements of the screen that you choose, like bone to bone to bone to bone individually. You want to get those bones to stabilize, basically, so that they're not causing too much craziness going on. Once you stabilize each one by one in all of the differing directions that it goes, then basically you full isolate pretty much, and then it starts to make sense in terms of what it's doing. See that looks a little bit more realistic. Just that right there. I didn't fix the hands, but I did some of the foot, the legs. I didn't do the feet 100%. So feet should be done last, obviously. So other than that, I think everything looks good. Oh, I know what I didn't fix. Let's go back over to, I forgot to do the textures for, let me just do that real quick. The specular and the metallic. And why is it see-through? Why can you see through it? I'm wondering. Oh, that one's still in alpha blend. There we go, opaque. So that's why that wasn't working too good. Now it's gonna look much better. And probably I should put a light in there just for shits and giggles. So let's throw a light in there. Point light. And it's behind him. I didn't even realize that. Let's just throw this 3D cursor over here. Shift S. Selection of cursor. And then move this up and over near his face. Bring him in. There we go. And increase the power on a light. That makes more sense. Bam. And then we'll just play with the background color, I guess. Make it a little brighter. Then move the light off of his face. I love Blender, man. Blender is a pretty dope tool. You just have to know what you're doing. Once you start to understand what you're doing, it's like a video game, basically. But I'm not a game developer, and I don't plan on developing any games. But yeah, this is pretty dope. Okay, let's go back. Hit the play. Boom. See that? It's already becoming much better. Way better than what it was before. Still has some jankiness, as you can see, but it's far more stable. Way more stable. Just doesn't have all of the motion that she put in, like every single thing. But I limited a lot of the motion, as you can see, and it's making it much more stable. But other than that, I'm out of here. Joe Love and peace to all. Mike Pugh signing off. This was a successful video showing y'all folks some of what you can do. And look at that. Wow. Somehow I paused it where he's making the ROC symbol, the rock. That's crazy, right? That's like the Illuminati crap, whatever. He kind of looks like one of those dudes who's wearing those robes and stuff. But yeah, I'm not into all of that stuff anyway. But I'm done with this session. Joe Love and peace to all. Like I said, hopefully y'all folks learned something from this and you could benefit from it. I'm gonna tie you into the other video at this point so you can see some other stuff that I was talking about. Oh, let's see if any more comments came in. We have somebody that jumped in that said, "Hi, how can I retarget from Plask rig to my rig in Blender?" Okay, so if you wanted to retarget, you have to, what I recommend from what I was able to do is use the, what do they call it? Let's go over to Plask. The GLB type. For some reason, I don't know why, but I tried to use the FBX type to retarget on Blender and it didn't work. Also, I tried to move my character model over from Blender and I tried to bring it over to Plask in the FBX type. FBX type comes over, but I can't use it. It just doesn't work out the way I want it in terms of doing anything on there. Now, the GBL, I tried to export GBL as a human generator character over. The GBL doesn't export out of Blender. I keep getting an error. So I can export this, but this is not what I want to bring back over there. Obviously, I'm trying to get motion data from video footage, and then bringing it over to Blender. So the methodology that worked for me was you take your character's mesh and you go over to Mixamo, because obviously Mixamo is compatible with Plask. So you go in, log in obviously. So after logging into Adobe Mixamo or Mixamo, whatever, you're going to go in and you're going to upload your character as a 3D mesh. So you get your mesh in there. Once you upload your character in, you're going to configure it so that it can rig and auto rig your character. So you're basically trying to get the Mixamo rig onto your character's mesh. After you get the Mixamo rig onto your character's mesh, you're going to download that character. So you go to download and you're going to download the T-pose. If you don't see a T-pose and you can't figure out how to get the T-pose, you can type up in here and just type in T and hit enter, and it should bring up the T-pose. You don't even have to type in the full T-pose. And then you select the first character that's on the upper left that says T-pose. When you select it, it turns the Mixamo character into a T-pose, more of a pose position. So you can use this one. Go download, and then with skin, don't change anything in here. Just go by default what it's set up as. You click download. After you do that, you can extract this. Obviously, it's not like extracting the AI video footage stuff to Mocap, but it's basically exporting. So we're gonna go, let's just go for shits and giggles and put it in an M9. It's gonna take a little while. That's my external hard drive. It's gonna take some time because my main hard drive is overloaded. So we're gonna go save the T-pose there. We're gonna go to Plask, and we hit the plus, and you can bring it in like that. So we hit the plus, go to an M9, and bring in the T-pose. It's gonna take a little while. Once it brings in the T-pose, now you can bring that onto the screen, and you can build your animations in from your video footage how you see fit. So once you bring in the video footage, you're going to export as a GBO. That's the whole secret. That's the key. You get the Mixamo character with the mesh and the Mixamo rig, export it out of Mixamo, bring it into Plask, get your Cloud AI Mocap extracted, put it onto the character. Once you get it onto the character, then you're gonna port it out. So you're going to right click, export. Very simple stuff. But if you don't use Mixamo, I don't know if it's gonna work for you. It hasn't worked for me. But that's how I made it work with the usage of the Human Generator add-on, because there's no other way for it to work that I've found. And also, that's another method of trying to get your Human Generator characters to have Mixamo animations. It works that way as well. And for retargeting. So when you want to retarget Mixamo animations, that's what you want to do. Except you're not going to bring the character over to Plask. You're going to bring it directly back to Blender after you get it from Mixamo with the Mixamo rig and your character mesh. You bring it back to Blender, and then from bringing it to Blender, you can go and use the Rococo or the Pro something Animation Pro, whatever. They have a Pro retargeting tool. So you go with the Rococo, sign in. With your sign in on Rococo, it's free to get the Rococo Studio plugin for Blender. It's Rococo Studio Live, and then you go to retargeting, and then you use your source and target. The source is going to go on the animated character model rig, so you select the rig or armature with the little eyedropper, and the target is going to be the model that you want to bring the animation data onto. Then once you're done, you're going to hit configure bone lists or whatever. It's going to build the bone lists. Make sure that the list is identical because you have to check the armatures and make sure that each of the bones line up for retargeting. Make sure they're the same. Even though the naming convention may be different, they have to be the same positions. Once you got all of that done, and you check the bone configurations for retargeting, then you're just gonna hit the button that shows up on the screen. But other than that, that's the methods. You can check some of my other videos that I've done with differing things, but I'm gonna show folks how to do the whole thing in a tutorial, which I plan to do soon for Plask, but that's gonna be in the full-scale Plask tutorial where I showcase everything that I learned on Plask, which is a lot of stuff that I learned on how to use Plask. Like, there's a lot of hidden stuff that you can't see, that you may not know of. So like, they have this filter option, they have a whole lot of different things. Animation, you can actually reposition stuff based on XYZ coordinate plane systems. You got retargeting as well here, but that's a little different from Blender. Actually, a lot different. Most of this is automatically done, so you don't really have to worry about it. It's retargeted automatically, but they said sometimes you may have to use it. I haven't had to use it ever since I've been playing with all this stuff, and it's been over a week, or at least a week for now. There's a lot of options. You have this is like your keyframes, not keyframes, but your frames per second. It basically increases the speed or decreases the speed, or you could leave it at 1. And you have your time, not time, but your start and end points for your frames, and then you have your timeline here. I haven't really used the base layers much. This is like layering animations, I guess. I don't know. I haven't used this, but other than that, I'm out here, like I said, and hopefully that information, that additional information, helped those who are still tuned in. Let me see. See if anybody else is commenting. Thank you so much. You just have saved my life. Yeah, man. You're welcome. I appreciate you showing up and whoever else showed up who is not here to do no good, because some people are up to no good. You're definitely doing good stuff, obviously. But yeah, you know, there's different things that you can do. I'll definitely put out a tutorial, so if you have any issues with what I just spoke about and tried to help you understand just by talking about it, you'll get to see every little detail that I put in the screen. But yeah, I gotta bounce. I gotta catch some Z's, and I may actually go in and try to, you know, configure that pre-recorded video for tutorial. But that's all I got. I'll catch you next time. Feel free to subscribe, feel free to hit the thumbs up, and feel free to share this socially if you feel it's going to help other people around the planet, or help another person, maybe 5 people, 10 people, whoever gets to see it. But that's all I got. Peace.